As basketball fans, we're blown away by today's stars making highlight reels. But what if they had to go face-to-face with the legends who literally built the game? Would Zion's power match Barkley's grit? Or could Trey Young handle Steph Curry's shooting? In this video, we've got 10 amazing comparisons that'll have you wondering who is the real GOAT. Subscribe and let's get straight to it. Let's start the list with Zion Williamson and Charles Barkley, two guys who could probably bench press a small car. Now, both of these stars have faced their fair share of criticism about their weight, but their game speaks for itself. At 6'6" and 6'7", they're considered undersized for their position. But with their athleticism and brute strength, they don't need to be 7-footers to dominate. Barkley's Hall of Fame career was built on being an absolute rebounding machine. Zion, on the other hand, is still working his way up. But man, when he's healthy, he's shown flashes of just being as terrifying on the boards. With Zion's ability to bulldoze his way through defenders, and Barkley's legacy of doing the same, it's hard not to wonder, could Zion, if he stays fit, follow in Sir Charles' mighty footsteps? Now, before you start throwing things at the screen, we're not saying Lauri Markkanen is Dirk Nowitzki. Just chill for a second. But there are definitely some similarities. Both are tall, sweet shooters who make defenders really uncomfortable with their ability to stretch the floor. Nowitzki had that iconic one-legged fadeaway, and while Lauri hasn't quite reached that level of finesse, he's got the offensive chops to keep defenders on their toes. Dirk laid the foundation for these tall guys who can knock down threes and space the floor, and Markkanen followed that blueprint. He is still finding his groove, but if he can achieve that Nowitzki-level consistency, we could be looking at the next big European star. Next up, we have Donovan Mitchell versus Dwayne Wade. If you've ever watched Mitchell glide to the hoop or pull up for a jumper in crunch time, it's hard not to think of Wade in his prime. Both guys are absolute freaks when it comes to athleticism. Wade made a career out of clutch performances, winning 3 NBA championships, and while Mitchell doesn't have the rings yet, his ability to elevate his game when it counts is starting to make fans take notice. Defensively, Wade had a reputation as a stopper, and though Mitchell's still working on that side of his game, we've already seen some serious improvement. Mitchell's not Wade yet, but watching him, you can't help but feel like you're getting a flashback to the glory days of Flash. Let's talk about the king, LeBron James. People love to compare him to MJ, but honestly, Magic Johnson might be the better comparison. Magic was a 6'9" point guard with vision and skills that were unheard of at that time. Similar enough, LeBron is the same height, has that same court vision, and let's be real, he's even a better athlete. Magic won 5 championships and was an absolute magician with the ball in his hands. LeBron has done it all: points, assists, rebounds, you name it. It's almost like he's Magic 2.0, but with more power and scoring ability. LeBron might not be a pure point guard, but whenever he takes the control, you can see shades of Magic, just with a modern twist. Watching Ja Morant in the game is quite like watching an intense TV show. You know something ridiculous is about to happen, but you can't look away. His insane athleticism makes him one of the most exciting players in the NBA today. But here's the thing, we've seen this kind of show before. Before those unfortunate knee injuries ruined his career, Derrick Rose was pulling off the same jaw-dropping stunts and blowing by defenders like they were stuck in quicksand. Both Rose and Morant have that lightning, quick speed, and bounce that make defenders nervous. The comparisons don't stop there, though. Both have missed significant game time. Rose due to injuries, and Ja, well, for other reasons. Morant still has time to rewrite his story and avoid the fate that Rose had. While D. Rose was never able to capture that elusive championship, Ja has a chance to make a different kind of history if he can stay on the court and lead his team to the promised land. Now that you're halfway through this video, imagine if you could take just one player from today and drop them into the physical era of the 90s. Who do you think would dominate? Comment below and tell us why. Trey Young has been compared to a lot of players, but let's be real. The most obvious one is Steph Curry. Both are undersized point guards who can pull up from anywhere on the court and make it rain threes like it's nothing. Curry literally revolutionized basketball with his three-point shooting, and Trey, well, he's carrying that torch for the next generation. Now, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Steph is the greatest three-point shooter of all time, with 4 rings to back it up. Trey, on the other hand, is still looking to add some hardware to his record. But when it comes to their offensive creativity, both guys are in a league of their own. Trey has that same ability to thread the needle with impossible passes, keeping defenders on high alert. The comparison stops when it comes to efficiency and team success. Curry's off-ball movement is a thing of beauty, and his handles are arguably better than Trey's. However, Trey's career is still young, pun intended. If he can lead the Hawks to a deep playoff run, the Steph comparisons might start to feel a little more legit. At first, you might think we've lost it, but let's break it down. Both Tatum and T-Mac can score in their sleep. Their shooting strokes are smooth, their footwork is clean, and they've got that length to rise above defenders without breaking a sweat. McGrady in his prime was a scoring machine, and while Tatum isn't quite at that level yet, he's shown flashes of being that guy. Plus, both of these dudes are known for stepping up when the pressure's on. Tatum's already been to 4 conference finals and an NBA finals. McGrady, well, he didn't have the same playoff success, but his confidence and his ability to deliver in clutch moments, remember the 13 points in 33 seconds? That was legendary. Tatum's still writing his story, and if he can put it all together, don't be surprised if we look back and say, yeah, that Tatum-McGrady comparison nailed it. The Larry Bird and Luka comparison has been floating around for years, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. Both guys aren't known for their athleticism, but oh well, can they slow the game down and dissect defenses like surgeons. They're not blowing past anyone with speed, but instead they use their insane basketball IQ and vision to create plays out of nothing. Bird and Luka are masters at making their teams better by using their size and passing ability to open up the floor. They don't just score, they make everyone around them dangerous. And when it comes to scoring, both can kill you from the inside or outside. Sure, Bird's three-point shot was more consistent, but Luka's footwork and ability to finish at the rim have Bird-like creativity written all over them. While Bird was part of a team that won multiple championships, Luka's still chasing his first. He did make his first finals appearance this last season though, so who knows? If Luka can lead the Mavericks to a ring or two, this comparison could start feeling even more legit. For now though, Larry's trophy case is just a little heavier. Because of his amazing performance, Zion Williamson is considered as the next big thing. That is the reason we just compared him to Charles Barkley. But after just a few seasons in the league, there's a growing concern that Zion might be headed down a different path, one that ends with him being compared to Oliver Miller. Yeah, we know most people today probably haven't even heard of Miller, and that's part of the problem. Drafted in 1992, Miller was a talented center who couldn't control his weight. By the end of the 90s, he ballooned up to nearly 400 pounds and became more famous for his diet issues than his time on the court. Zion, too, has been plagued by weight-related injuries, and there have been reports of him sneaking food away from the Pelicans. The dude is an athletic freak when healthy, but if he doesn't keep his fitness in check, he could end up like Miller, more remembered for what could have been than what actually was. This offseason, Zion seems to be back on track, but if he doesn't stay disciplined, he might find himself in the wrong history books. Let's hope he keeps things under control so we never have to mention Zion and Oliver Miller in the same sentence again. Okay, we know what you're thinking. Comparing Anthony Edwards to Michael Jordan sounds like a basketball sin. But before the MJ fanbase storms the comments section, just hear me out for a second. One of Jordan's most iconic moves was his first step off the dribble. It was lightning quick, and once he got it going, there was almost no stopping him. Now, if you've watched Anthony Edwards in action, you know that he's got that same explosive first step. When Edwards is locked in, he's attacking defenders with the same ferociousness we saw from MJ in his prime. And don't even get us started on their finishing ability. Both players have the hops and the strength to finish through contact like it's no big deal. Edwards and Jordan are also cut from the same cloth when it comes to confidence. Whether it's breaking down defenders one-on-one or hitting the game-winning shot, they thrive on pressure. They want the ball in their hands when it matters most. And yeah, before anyone starts yelling, we aren't saying Edwards is anywhere close to MJ's level, but if you're not seeing the similarities in their offensive game, you might want to check your basketball glasses. Could Anthony Edwards Edwards ever be in the same conversation as Jordan? Probably not, but the flashes of greatness are there, and that's why we can't help but make the comparison. When comparing basketball eras, it's impossible to ignore how much the game has evolved over time. The NBA of the past had a completely different rhythm compared to today's game, and the changes have shaped the careers of players from each generation. In the past, physicality ruled the court. Hard fouls and gritty defense were basically the standard, and players fought through constant contact for every point. Today, the focus is on safety, reducing physical play and softening the game. Fouls that were once ignored are now quickly called, sparking debate over the game's intensity. The rise of the three-point shot marks another shift. Where teams once focused on inside play, now the long-range shot dominates, speeding up the game but reducing emphasis on post play. Defense used to define eras, with players grinding for stops. Today's game is more offense-driven, featuring higher scores but less defensive grit. The passion remains, but it's often directed at drawing fouls rather than battling through tough play. Each era has its merits. Yesterday's toughness versus today's speed and skill, but for many, the spirit of the past holds a special place. And now before you go, we've got a question for you. If these matchups really happen, who would come out on top? Is there an NBA comparison you think we missed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more such videos, remember to like, share, and subscribe.